Ladies and gentlemen, Anon here. This has been a long time coming, but I am starting to see signs of life in the vintage slash reserve list in Magic the Gathering. And many of you know, modern Magic is zooming, modern Pokemon zooming, vintage Pokemon is getting to the point where it's starting to zoom. And the one lagging asset in the space has been Legacy Magic the Gathering. Uh, but I'm here to show you that it's even though it's been a long time coming, we're starting to see signs of life. And I have a series of reserve list cards that I want to talk through and just show kind of the uptick. And some of them are even at all-time highs, above COVID level highs. And I think what's interesting and what makes this um, super super strong, I guess I would say, is a lot of these cards, it's just taken years of accumulation in commander decks and just supply coming out of the market to push them higher. So we're going to start with There's His Destiny. We're going to do Destiny, Legacy, Saga, Tempest, Mirage. And I think I have a couple Stronghold on it. By the way, when we hit Sliver Queen, I want to talk about that because there's some really, really interesting rumors. So, There's His Destiny Replenish. This is basically at an all-time high. So we've seen a big jump here, really in the last couple months in this guy. And we can see back in the height of COVID, the regular card was like $150. I remember buying a bunch of foils back then. The reserve list foils were something that I personally targeted, and I probably have 10 or 15 of each of these. Not anything crazy, but I remember buying them for like 150, $200. Now they're pushing $500-$600, but I just thought they were super cool. As reserve list niche goes, foil cards are something there aren't a whole lot of them. Yavia Hollow. So even though we don't see the big spike, we do see a little bit of life here. This is like the last month. There's a little bit of uptick, a little bit of activity in the set. Academy Recctor. We could see a giant swing here upwards. Now, it's still 50% below its all-time high, but this swing, which is effectively the last 5 months, is something that I haven't heard a lot of people talk about. So, in my view, this is the really, really early stages of people starting to throw money in here. And the way it generally works is, somebody mentions it, then somebody else mentions it, then Rudy does a video on it, and then everybody starts to get FOMO, and then the cards really start to move quickly because there's just not a lot of them out there. But in my view, now's the time. If you have the cards, certainly don't sell them, but this is something to front run, in my view. Ruffalo's, whatever. And we can see here, this guy's gone absolutely through the roof. Not quite at all-time highs, but you can see, since August of 2024, just a consistent upward climb. Grim Monolith, same thing. We have the slow sell-off, and this is a must-have one of in almost every commander deck. Here we can see acceleration of the trend in the last couple months. Deranged Hermit. This one's a little weird because you have the COVID bump, you have the Bloomburrow bump, with the squirrel decks and stuff. So this is a little bit of an outlier. I just wanted to point that out because it is a reserve list card. It is in Urza's Legacy, but it does trade a little bit differently because of the synergy with with squirrel decks. Palinchron. The only reason I brought this one up is we have a little bit of a spike here, and it doesn't look like much, but going from $34 to $44 is about a 33% increase in that little bit of time. And the card's expensive, but I always thought this card was pretty cool. It comes into play, untap lands. It's basically a freebie. Guy's Cradle. Obviously, this has been a staple forever. Didn't drop nearly as much, but here again, we can see a little uptick from $825 up to $900, $1,000. So all of these cards are moving. Sarah Sanctum, again, not to point out the obvious, but you can see it. And all these graphs are very, very similar. They really are. And they all seem to have started to move right around the same time. which is September, October, November of 2024, which also happens to coincide with the time that Scarlet and Violet went absolutely batshit crazy for Pokemon. Yawgmoth's Will. Again, the only reason I'm pointing this is we see this little bit of an uptick here in the last couple months. You know, it's kind of being drug up with everything else. LED, this has been pretty consistent, but we have a little bit of an uptick here. Now, nothing super prominent, but it's worth listing because I took the time to pull up Mirage. Phyrexian Dreadnought, this thing is just absolutely off to the races. This is obliterated its high from COVID, which is, I had no idea. It was super interesting. Mox Diamond, same deal. You know, this is right around all-time high here. What's interesting is it spiked during COVID, and then it spiked again here in early 2022, and I, for the life of me, don't remember what set it spiked at, if at all. But again, you know, we're all-time high here. Silver Queen. So I want to spend some time talking about her, and you can see there's a little bit of an uptick here. There are rumors with Edge of Eternities that I've heard yesterday that there are potentially slivers on the plane, slivers in the set. If that is the case, Sliver Queen is going to spike. It is going to be playable. This is the only reserve list sliver that exists. But slivers are pretty cool, certainly. And I think adding them into Edge of Eternities would just be absolutely badass. It would also be cool if the showcase serialized headliner, whatever the hell they're calling it. I think I mentioned last night. I heard some rumors from MagicCon Chicago, but we do have Vegas coming up this weekend or next weekend. I think it's going to be interesting to see what the spoilers look like for that, because they got to spoil it at some point. Bull Rest Stronghold, same thing. Little bit of an uptick here. Intuition, straight up, $150 to $200 in the last month. Yeah, this is April, May, June, 2 months. Earthcraft, same thing. You know, steady climb up, and we have a little bit of a downtick here, but these are all consistently moving. Ancient Tomb, continuing to move upwards. So I wanted to get this out there, and again, I haven't heard anybody mention consistently that there are a significant amount of high dollar, high value reserve list cards that continue to move up. And you hear people mention dual lands and you know, revised duels and things like that. They're always moving because people always need them. But this is kind of the second layer of the market that really shows that, in my view, the tide is starting to turn to a point where I think it's going to start to swing into a bull market. Yeah, hopefully Rudy does a video here relatively soon, sees the same thing. Maybe sees the video, maybe not. Who knows? But anyway, just want to get it out there. So like the video, subscribe to the channel, join the Discord. We are offering to our members $14.99 a month. We're selling Edge of Eternities play cases for $5.99 per case through the website. We do use a coupon program. That way we can kind of manage who's buying, who's not buying, and control all that, so we don't have any shenanigans there. So anyway, guys, have a good night, and we'll talk later.